you're right. Like, I think in student life, we don't prioritize food as much. But if you're going hungry for very long periods of time, what is basically happening is that vegetarians are not getting enough protein. So across the globe, ये जो है कि there is a protein gap and we aren't getting enough, and we should work at improving protein in our diet is not true. So there is no, mental health is connected to nutrition, because a lot of times we've seen young boys and girls, they go off carbs, or they're cutting out a single food group or following a restrictive diet. And
Okay. Hello and welcome. I am Ayush, and this is The Eminence, a podcast series by Evolve, the Personality Development Society of Shahid Bhagat Singh Evening College. We aim to provide a platform for experts from different industry to speak about their experiences and wisdom with us. Our motive is to group together all the experienced professionals to share their insights and have a conversation on topics related to personality development. And on this very fine afternoon, we have a very special guest today, Ghazal Furniturewala with us. Ghazal, it's a pleasure to have you on this show. So, could you please introduce yourself to our audience?
yes, I'm very happy to be part of Eminence and this podcast series. I'm Ghazal. I'm from Rujita Devekar's team, and I've been working with her for over 5 years. My work has allowed me to interact and plan diets, exercise plans, and workout routines for a diverse set of people from all walks of life. And yes, and I'm trained directly under Rujita, so I'm constantly learning from her.
That's great. Okay, so like before starting with the questions and all, I would like to know about your viewpoint on the importance of nutrition and a perfect balanced diet in a student's life and how it affects their personality.
Right. The role of nutrition in a student's life is very, very important. So not only nutrition, but also exercise. Exercising consistently is almost indispensable. So what we see is that students and young boys and girls who eat right, who are working out, who are working on a good sleep routine, they do much better in all aspects of their all aspects of life, and whether it is sports, whether it is mental concentration, whether it is just discipline towards getting tasks done, because student life is also a little challenging. It's also a time of many things coming together, right? So nutrition keeps you fueled for the task at hand, and it's a very, very important part of
Okay, moving forward with this, like you said that exercise and nutrition both are very important for a long run. So but in today's generation they have this mindset or a tendency that doing exercise alone or having a good diet, like they think that okay, I am eating a good food and that is enough for me to have a good lifestyle, and they don't work out. Or there are people who used to like gym freaks, they just go to gym, they work out, and they are like, okay, I don't have to eat because I am already doing the work. So, is it really the case, or what should be a proper balance between this?
So, for good health, for long-term fitness, both diet and exercise and a good sleep routine, all three, these are the three pillars of good health. You can even say that. So, only focusing on diet, not having enough exercise makes you inactive. Eventually it leads to muscle losses, and it doesn't give you the kind of strength, stamina, flexibility that you would need to have a healthy and fit life, correct? And focusing only on gymming and not working on a wholesome diet also is like a very half-baked approach towards fitness. So, eating local, seasonal, eating fruits, vegetables, foods that are in sync with your time-tested cultural practices, and exercising consistently in a structured manner, having a good sleep routine. These are the three key elements of good health and fitness.
Okay, like you said, exercise, good sleep, and nutrition is the three pillar. And honestly, in a college student life, in my opinion, I believe that we lack in all the areas. Okay, so I'll come to all of them simultaneously. So the first thing is about the food. Okay, most of the students pursue like go outside their home to pursue their higher studies, and with all the exam stress and their schedule, they can't manage their diet. And I have seen personally my friends, they hired a cook. Okay, she makes the food, but they don't eat because they don't like it, and then they end up eating the food from fast food and
Correct.
their nearby areas. So how can they fulfill their nutrition in their diet?
Okay, so one of the things that we suggest, so we have our clients who are moving, abroad or outside their country or outside their city for studies all the time. So what works very well is to kind of like, learn a few basics of cooking before you go. So maybe just like a dal and rice or a khichdi. So just the basics. And secondly, it works well to, kind of stock up on certain things in the house. Identify, so if you're living abroad, identify an Indian store around you. Allocate enough budget for meals. So what happens is also on a student life, you have a student budget, right? So you don't always accommodate that, food and good food will require an investment. So you look for cheaper options, which invariably, typically take away from your nutrient value. So uh, allocate a budget for food. And secondly, so broadly keeping your grains, your oils, your spices, close to where you grew up is important. So, don't give up on your dal rice or your roti sabzi. So, you can make a dal rice. So, you can learn to make a dal rice at home or a khichdi. These are all one pot meals. You can get like a dosa batter, stock it at home over the weekend, and then, make a quick dosa or a chila, that kind of a thing. And for your mid meals, you can stock on nuts, dry fruits, cheese, fruits, those kind of things. So fruits, vegetables, dairy like yogurt, buttermilk, butter, all of these things you buy locally. And the other things, like I mentioned, grains, oils, spices, millet, keep it to where close to where you grow up from.
Okay, so like we as a students like shortcuts. Okay, and we tend to have this mindset कि चलो कुछ एकदम मिल जाए and हमारा दिन का निकल जाए. It's like that mindset we have. So
Hmm.
is it something like if we don't have to, we are like lazy and all, we don't want to cook, we don't have to do. So is there anything, shortcut type of thing to fulfill the diet, or just have the day go like this?
So here's the thing. See, there are no shortcuts to health. There is no shortcut to good health, good fitness, and those kind of things. So planning in advance will help you stay better prepared for when you are feeling lazy. So planning, if you don't plan, so it's like failing to plan is planning to fail, right? So on the weekend, you plan for things, you stock up on certain things, like you can get yourself, like I was talking about, nuts, dry fruits, cheese, stock your fridge with those things. Or you can get bread and stuff. So if in when you're very very hungry, you're short on time, you can make yourself a sandwich, a cheese sandwich. So those kind of things you can do. And planning in the sense that getting a cook but not eating, so then those kind of things are not are coming from not prioritizing food, right? So we don't look at food as an intervention that will help us do better in life. So if you are eating well, if you are exercising well, your concentration towards your work, your efficiency towards studying gets much better. So, which is why we need to prioritize these things even as students and get that discipline from this time itself. So that 10 years later, when you are working or you are in your next phase of life, it's not as difficult for you.
Okay. Okay, like we are a personality development society and we focus on the personality. So nowadays, most of them know like to secure a good job and to do a good interview, you must have a good personality. So in order to do that, people tend to lose their weight and they go for an option that they will skip the meals. Okay, I
Mhm.
personally I am working out and I am on my like losing weight. Yeah, so I skip meal. I don't eat in the evening. I only eat in the afternoon and have a pre-workout, something like that. So is it really, impactful for the long run, or how it's harmful for the students and how
So
it harms their personality too?
correct, correct. So skipping meals or any kind of other restrictive diets, it may lead to weight loss in the short term, but in the long term, the weight comes back. In due course of time, you will see that whatever weight you've lost, उससे ज़्यादा या double ही वापस आता है. And invariably, it comes back with one of the other health issues. Okay, now suddenly your hair is falling, suddenly you have little brain fog, you have now sudden acidity out of nowhere. Those kind of things come up and we never really related कि हमने एक diet किया था, maybe it is skipping of meal, maybe हमने rice बंद कर दिया, maybe हमने you know maybe we were not eating for very long periods of time in the day. We never really related to that. But basically chronic dieting or being on one kind of a diet or the other, whether it is skipping a meal, whether it is following a diet which has a name, you know any of those kind of things for a long period of time, your body begins to make metabolic adaptations that keep you fatter in the long run. Okay, so what what they found in a study is basically that chronic dieters tend to stay heavier than people who've never been on a diet. Because you lose, like I was saying, you if you do these methods, you lose weight for the short term, but in due course of time, in the long term, you gain all this weight back, and you are much fatter than what you started this journey at. So, the right way to irreversible and long term weight loss is to nourish and nurture the body with wholesome meals, eating local, seasonal, traditional meals, structured exercise, and a good sleep routine. So once you're following these patterns, all the weight that you've lost will stay off for the long term.
Okay, adding on to the same point, like in order to lose weight, we skip meals. But in order to gain muscles, the Gen Z especially nowadays, they used to have this whey protein supplements. So what are the harmful impact of these things on their lifestyle?
So for muscle gain and for everyone who is working out regularly, eating correctly through the day, so not skipping on meals, and not basically having more wholesome diet, hydration, good sleep is the key. Okay, so if we are ensuring that we are getting adequate whole grains, millets, pulses, lentils, local fruits, vegetables, we are exercising consistently, sleeping on time, we're maintaining good relationships, adding a protein supplement post workout should not be a problem. It cannot be the main feature of your diet. Your diet has to be wholesome to begin with, and then it can be an addition to your diet.
Okay, you talked about sleep. Like as a student, I take a 8 hour sleep. Okay, but the timings are not that good that from 12 to 8 I am sleeping. It's like I'm sleeping at 3 and then waking up after like 11. So how, like, what is the importance of the time period when you sleep?
Right. So time is important. See, now you're young. In our student life, we are all young, and only as we grow older, we really get to know and appreciate the importance of good sleep, good quality sleep. So sleeping, so between 9 p.m. to 5 a.m. in the morning, if you are sleeping, there is a hormone called as growth hormone, which begins to peak in your bloodstream, right? So it peaks through the night and then it falls down. Then it again comes back to normal as we inch closer to morning, right? And how high this peak is governs how fast you lose your fat, how well your digestion is doing, how well you are recovering from exercise, how well you're gaining muscle. All of this depends on this peak of the growth hormone. So if we are sleeping, at 3 a.m., waking up much later in the day, even though you're getting 8 hours of sleep, the quality of that sleep is compromised. So the peak of this growth hormone isn't as much as it should be. So you don't wake up feeling as refreshed as you would had you slept earlier in the night. So quantity of sleep is one thing, whether 7 to 8 hours, but quality of sleep also matters. And we must make it a point to sleep at least 1 hour earlier than whatever time that we are currently sleeping at. And a good practice to better quality of sleep is keeping your gadget away. So now we are also kind of hooked on to our phones or laptop. Yeah, TVs inside our bedroom now. So we're constantly watching TV, and while watching TV, we fall asleep, right? So these kind of things, they damage or they compromise the quality of your sleep. So 30 to 60 minutes before you sleep, you know, keep away all your gadgets. A good tip that Rujita had shared on social media also was that you apply a drop of ghee and rub it on the soles of your feet at bedtime. So it gives you very, very good quality sleep. You wake up refreshed and your energy levels stay good throughout the day.
Okay, great. And like replacing it with meals. Okay. Uh, Having a good quantity of sleep is, like you said, another thing, and having a quality sleep is another thing. Same is with the meals. We tend to have midnight cravings. We are eating from any time, like whenever we feel like. We skip breakfast because we get up late. So, like, how important is it to have a good meal diet and a proper timing?
So see, for all those of you who have midnight cravings, here are few things that I want to share with you that you can do. Typically, midnight cravings come because we haven't managed to eat well throughout the day. So your body kind of tries to make up for all that, for all those nutrients in the night. So number one, before you leave your house, you start your day with a banana. So either you have this within 15 minutes of waking up, that is ideal, or else if you're just waking up and rushing to college, then before you leave the house, you ensure that you've eaten your banana. Okay. And the second thing is that between this time of 4 to 6 p.m., okay, you have a wholesome meal. Like, for example, you can do a cheese toast, or you can do like a chapati with ghee and ghee and good, or you can do simply do a banana again, or you can do all. So is time pe you will also see that we all crave a lot of, like, namkeen or junk kind of food, right? So
Right.
you can, this is a good time to do like a samosa, like now we're also monsoons are approaching. So it's a good time to do a freshly fried snack like a samosa, kachori, or a pakoda. So plan it at this time so that later you don't have any cravings. It's a good time to do, घर का बना हुआ लड्डू or a चिक्की or घर का बना हुआ नमकीन or any nashta which is like breakfast, like a dosa and chutney, idli and chutney, or those kind of things is a good time to do between 4 and 6 p.m. So if you're getting this meal right, it's a good chance that your midnight cravings will be much lesser. Even if you're hungry at night, you won't want to, like, jump onto Zomato or Swiggy to call for something. You'll much rather pick something from what is available at home. And if you are feeling hungry at night, you can have things like cheese, you can have a handful of cashews, you can have milk, you can have, if you're very hungry, then you can even do a cheese sandwich for yourself. So these are a few options that you can have if you're staying up at night and you get hungry.
Okay. Like I have seen as a college student, we food is our last priority. And I've seen this. Our studies, our career, everything, assignments, everything is just in front of everything. And the food, we place it at last. It's like, okay, अभी ये करना है, खा लेंगे ना. It goes like this. And most of the time, we do skip meals. कभी कभी तो ऐसा हो जाता है, the whole day we don't even eat anything. So how, how harmful is it for us, and how it will impact the personality of a person, is because we are all doing this to have a good personality and a good job. So
Correct.
how impactful it is.
Correct. So uh, you're right. Like, I think in student life, we don't prioritize food as much. But if you're going hungry for very long periods of time, what is basically happening is that, the fueling and the supply of nutrients to your body keeps dropping, right? So the amount of efficiency that you should have for your assignments or for studying, or the concentration that you need for studying or paying attention to your class is compromised. So I understand that it's a busy schedule, but taking out 5 minutes or 10 minutes in your in your classes or in your studies will go a long way in ensuring that your mental health stays good. So a lot of times we also have students who are going through like anxiety or depression, or they simply, it's becoming very overwhelming because everything becomes very overwhelming. So sometimes it comes out of being underfueled throughout the day. So we must use food as an intervention to have better physical and mental health, because both are important for doing well in your career and getting a good job. So prioritizing meals, taking out 10 minutes, for lunch, for breakfast, will go a long way, not only now but even in the future.
Okay, this question is for like the vegetarian ones. So most of us, when we go to the gym, and our gym trainer is always like, eat some protein, eat white eggs, egg white, I guess it is, and eat chicken and all. But we are like, "Bhaiya, we are vegetarian. How can we manage that?" So they are like, "You can manage that, you can manage that," but they don't have a certain, idea. So how can they actually manage?
So here's the thing. This is a myth that vegetarians are not getting enough protein. So across the globe, ये जो है कि there is a protein gap and we aren't getting enough and we should work at improving protein in our diet is not true. So there is no protein gap. So if you're eating wholesome meals throughout the day, if you're eating like daily meals from home cooked meals from your kitchen, you're doing like a good breakfast, lunch, dinner, a snack, you are going to get enough nutrients, and you are going to you are going to make the levels of protein that are needed for your daily exercise and your daily life also, correct? So you don't need to necessarily add an egg or non-veg to improve your protein requirements, but you must eat in good in time tested proportions, like eat a good wholesome breakfast like a poha, upma, paratha, chila, or if you are a non-vegetarian, then you eat your egg and toast here, that is also okay. Your lunch, dinner, do more wholesome meals like roti, sabzi, dal, or a dal rice, or a pulse curry with rice, or you can do a pulao, those kind of options which are wholesome, which allow your body to assimilate the protein from those meals.
Okay. Like you said, to have a good personality, you must have a good physical health, also the mental health. So, how is mental health related to the nutrition we get? And like, is it connected, or it's just the physical health being connected with the nutritions?
Uh, no, mental health is connected to nutrition because a lot of times you've seen young boys and girls, they go off carbs, or they're cutting out a single food group or following a restrictive diet, and they do end up with a lot of mental health issues, or it becomes difficult to cope with daily life. So I think student time is also a time where we all feel like we are looking very bad, you know now somehow we are just too thin or too fat, and too dark, and my hair is not good enough, and when because you're also living in the age of social media, it gets that much more exaggerated, you know so we keep having these insecurities and these vulnerabilities, and then we want to do anything to just look like the person that we see on social media. So that means cutting out food, going hungry for long periods of time, exercising to a point where it is not no longer beneficial, but it is coming in the way of daily life. All of these things we begin to do, and this does take a toll on your physical and mental health. So it keeps you under fueled for the task at hand. So basically your tissues, all your organs, including your brain, is not receiving enough nutrients at any given point of time, so it is not going to function optimally. So all the coping mechanisms that you need for to deal with everything that life throws at you are right now at a compromised state. So you must fuel yourself well, have a wholesome meal, um, have wholesome meals at regular intervals so that your brain is also well nourished and your entire physically also body is better equipped to deal with everything that is coming your way.
Okay.
I also want to add in your previous question about about the exercise, the protein for vegetarians. See, the
Mm-hmm.
thing is that protein, like I said, you don't need to add an egg and stuff, but you do need to ensure that you're eating well pre and post workout. So pre workout, you can do like a fresh fruit or a date 15 to 20 minutes before you're working out, and after workout, you do a wholesome meal. So if you're working out in the morning, you can end your workout with a breakfast, a wholesome breakfast like a poha, upma, chila, paratha. Or if you're working out between breakfast and lunch, you can end it with lunch, which can be a roti, sabzi, dal, rice kind of a meal. So that also will ensure that you're getting enough, you're assimilating protein and getting enough nutrients for your exercise routine.
Okay, that was a great tip. I would like to know about your journey. Like, when did you decide to become a nutritionist? And were you like us, like I explained to you how our lifestyle is as a college student? So, were you like same like us, having midnight craving, not a good sleep, or was it different?
Yeah, I think it was quite similar, but I knew early on that I wanted to do something in food, and Rujita's books at that point really helped me kind of like navigate this journey of food and sleep. So she's written her early book. Her first book was "Don't Lose Your Mind, Lose Your Weight," and that was the first book that I read. So I would surely suggest everyone to read that book, and the 12-week fitness project also. So it really gave me a lot of inspiration to kind of make better food choices, and also it had a very big role to play in me choosing this as my career path.
So, like, she was an inspiration for you to
Yes,
pursue
from the
this.
beginning, yes.
Okay, that's great. Uh, like in the end, we usually ask that is there any success mantra or life mantra type of thing uh, a person can add into their personality and overall it can improve it. So do you have such kind of thing?
I think I'd like to just say that there are no shortcuts. So whether it is prioritizing your meal timings, your sleep timings, your exercise, there are no shortcuts, but the discipline pays off in the long term. So keep up with it, and all the best to all of you. And thank you for having me on the podcast.
Thank you. Is there anything you would like to address to our audience related to any topic you want to
I'm
say?
good. No, I'm good. This is what I wanted to share.
Okay. So thank you so much, Ghazal. It was a lovely conversation with you. I hope
Thank
our
you.
audience will find it. And with this, I believe that marks an end to a very wonderful session of the Eminence. So thank you, Ghazal, for hosting, letting me host you. And and I hope the audience, thank you for staying connected. I hope you liked it. So if you have any questions, you can drop on the comment and we'll try to ask them from the next speaker. So do like, comment, share, and I'll also mention the Ghazal social media handles on
Yeah.
the description and also the book she said. So yeah, thank you so
Yes.
much.
Thank you.
Thank
Bye.
you. Bye.